We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon. This is Skywire, and we're so happy to have you here, as always. And we are just a bunch of fun people having a fun ride, listening, exploring all that life has to offer. So if you're tuning in to us live, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you. Please comment with us, say hello. If you're tuning in and this is on the replay, comment anyway. Love to hear your remarks, your comments, where you are with what we're talking about, and if you'd like to connect with each and every one of us, this is the best way to do it. So each week we come together and we mastermind these fabulous ideas about listening. And all of a sudden this week something came to me about bucket lists. And out of the blue, as they always do, I came up with this title for the show, and I don't have one. And I haven't even thought about having one, but when I watched the movie years ago about a bucket list, I thought that was really cool, like coffee, traveling here. But I don't have one. And I'm very curious about opening myself up to having the things on my list that excite me. And I'm curious to hear what other people have, what they think about a bucket list, and what you might put on your list, and where you get those things from, because I think it's kind of tantalizing. A friend yesterday said she wanted to go on a hot air balloon, and I thought, wow, that's cool. That's cool to want to have those things. So I'm very, curious to hear what you all have to say. So first of all, let me welcome Margarita. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hey. Thought about you a couple of times this week having a margarita. And Katrina.
Margarita, it's birthday today. Happy birthday.
It was her birthday. Wow. Happy. We'll have to sing. We'll have to sing happy birthday. I don't know if that's copyrighted, but I don't care. We're going to sing it. And Elaine.
Hello.
How are you, Elaine?
I'm hanging out from Maryland. About an hour ago I said I was feeling really raw. But yet, after I said that and I was reflecting on coming on the program, a lot more things came on up to me to share. And then when I put on my lipstick, it was like, I'm back. I'm good.
It's amazing how we can move the energy like that, isn't it? That's great. You look beautiful.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And Dave, you look beautiful too.
Yeah, I just put my lipstick on and I'm ready to go.
Okay.
I can tell. Good color. Good color. Perfect. And Mark and Heidi, hello. How are you?
Oh, here we are.
No lipstick. No lipstick.
But lips. We have lips. Yeah.
That's kissable. Yeah, because when you have lipstick, it's a little hard because people get stuck. So, Margarita, happy birthday.
Yes, I have been greeted from near and far everywhere this morning and even last night, and I had somebody come and say to me, I need to call you up today because I want to be the first one to congratulate for your it's sort of like an even number. I'm not gonna mention it, but it's
It's sort of like an even number?
It is, yes.
30.
Well, we don't have to guess.
Yes. You got it. I told somebody yesterday that if you're going to guess a woman's age, you think that she is maybe so old, and then you half it by 2, and then you say, yeah, I think you're 30, and you are right on, Dave. You are the hero today.
So, Heidi, you want to start us off on a little happy birthday
Happy
song?
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Hey! Happy birthday,
Google
honey.
cannot say anything to that because it was so. The machines couldn't recognize any melody between all
No,
the.
they couldn't. Machines can't hear.
No.
Look, all of those notes were the right notes. They just weren't in the right order.
That was smart. That was very good. So, Margarita, since it's your birthday, Why don't you start off? I mean, because I know the times of birthdays, you know, we kind of have some reflection. So,
I'm going to have a sip of coffee first.
okay, okay. It's your birthday. You can do whatever you want.
That's a
And
bit of a short-term goal, isn't it?
What's that?
I'm going to have a sip of coffee. You wouldn't put that on your bucket list, would you, really?
I have coffee on my bucket list for
Do you?
sure. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And to enjoy it, I mean, I'm joking, and enjoy what I'm eating and drinking and what friends I have, that's sort of the daily routine, right? But I did have something on my bucket list, and that one was to climb Mount Kailash. This is the Buddhist holy mountain in Tibet. And I had a few friends here over a couple of weeks ago who was there, and they also was doing an article in my book that I published a long time ago, 2010, and where they describe how it was to climb Mount Kailash. It's not like any other mountain in the world. It's like the sacred mountain. So anyway, that is sort of on my bucket list. And then they told me that if to go there is extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. The political situation is one thing. The authorities there can shoot you anytime they want. You know, that's what they told me. And then also the exhaustion, the height of the mountain, if you're not used to high altitude, and then the dryness that your skin is breaking up if you don't have enough food or water with you, and then bandits. I mean, there's so many different challenges. So I think that maybe it's not so realistic to go there, but I have had that on my bucket list for sure. The other thing I have on my bucket list is to cultivate as many friends I can, and to actually, even though like I had this power out on Tuesday when I was supposed to be on the Lane show, and I couldn't reach anyone. I sat here on the evening and trying to use my iPhone's little battery life, couldn't get connected with anything. So that was like horrible, and I was thinking like, okay, but I'm good anyway. I'm happy. Okay, I can't do anything about it. It's just not there. So, I mean, the other thing is to actually accepting the moment as it comes, and then cultivate friendships. That's I think is what I'm doing now.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. These are all, like, I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, so I wonder if I don't take, because I don't have a list, and I'm curious to hear if you all have a list, or if you've had a list. Did you have that list, or from the title you started thinking about your list, Margarita?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the movie way back, and I've always thought about what would I really like to do, and I've done a lot of things in my life. I mean, I traveled over 50 countries, for example.
Wow.
You know, learned a second language as my own native language, Swedish, with English, right? And I'm pretty happy where I am. I mean, wherever I am, I think I'm going to be happy. There will always be challenges, and then I welcome them. Sometimes not right away, but actually welcome them, because that's the only way we can grow and develop and increase our consciousness and make a difference in the world. That's my 2 cents worth.
So, okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that a bucket list has challenges on it. So I'm curious about that. So is that what you would think about a bucket list that has challenges?
Yeah, like if you can do something you didn't think you could do, you have to face the challenges is to
Okay.
that goal.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm going to go climb that mountain, the Kailash mountain, which is in the western Tibet, I really have to challenge myself
Okay.
a lot. I have to practice my physical body. I have to go and practice being on high altitude. I had to, again, I mean, I climbed a glacier when I was 26 in north of Sweden, but that wasn't too high of an altitude, right? So I know sort of a little bit what kind of strenuous circumstances that would be, you know?
Okay. All right, good. Because I wonder, if a bucket list is a combination. For me, I think it would be a combination of things that would be challenging and then also just interesting. So that's good. So Katrina, what about you?
It's funny because the first thing I thought of when I saw the topic for the show, I was like, wow, I really have never thought about that specifically in that way. But I do feel that the things that have come to me in my life were surprises that I didn't necessarily expect. Like if you asked me when I was younger, would I be living in Colorado, I'd have been like, what? No, why would I do that? So I think for me, my bucket list is sort of like a living, breathing occurrence, really. It's sort of the things that pop up in my life that give me the choice to say, do I want to step into this adventure or would I rather choose something else? And I think that's been a really interesting energy to work with. A lot of cool things have come up that I wasn't expecting and made it really fun. But I will say this, like travel is really important to me and I haven't quite gotten to do as much of that internationally as I would like to. I've been to Guatemala, but that was actually a work-related trip. So, I've been on some cruises like Marilyn was on last week, but travel I would just enrich the opportunities for me, I think, just not only to meet new people, but to see how other people live. And I think the vibe as an empath, it's just kind of cool to be in another culture, like feel the vibe of what other people are doing in other areas in the world. So have I a passport at the moment that's updated? No. So that would be one simple challenge that I could fix. But, sometimes it really is the intention. I think, when I wake up every day and I'm doing my meditations or I go for my walk and stuff, it's to me, it's about setting those intentions for what I think would not only enrich my experience of life, but what I feel may be more fulfilling, like what's drawing my heart. And to me, that's sort of like the little bucket list I make every day in some contexts. And really, I think it's also my work. The kind of work that I do with clients and helping them in their transformation and really getting in touch with their creativity is something that I've only started in the last few years, but I would really like to see that business grow. So I think, I don't know if it's technically a bucket list as much as it's like a plan. But to me, I will feel that I'm connecting with what I really want to do and the passions that I want to do if I can do more of that. And, I think if I was on my deathbed right now, I might be sad if that didn't necessarily develop and grow in the way that I would like it from my heart space. So, yeah, so I think maybe sometimes you can turn things that you're working on or growing into a bucket list just because they're really important to what you feel your purpose is in some ways.
Okay. Elaine?
Hello, good morning. So I thought it was really interesting that you were admitting you came up with a topic for the bucket list, but yet you didn't have one. And as I was getting ready for the show this morning, I thought, I don't really have one either. And I was feeling like I should have one. And as I was showering, it occurred to me one of the things that I have on my desire lists to do, it's a little scary, but it's to go like skydiving. And I think the feeling that is accompanying that is one to just be flying free. The second is to be at this high altitude and to just see, the world from a much different, higher perspective. And then it led me to thinking about, there are people that actually open up to the capability of doing remote viewing. So if I put learning how to do remote viewing on my bucket list, I guess I could kind of go anywhere, see anything. And that really aligns me with, I could say, what do I think I'm on this planet to do? It's to wake up. It's to really shed more and more of my defenses against being, you know, my true self, my expansive self, that doesn't just see myself as an individuality, but somehow has a realm of experience that is just really experiences the connection and the harmony fully. And I'll stop there. There are sideways thoughts about this that might come up later, but I'll stop there.
Okay. Thank you. Dave?
There we go. Yeah, I looked at the title of this, the bucket list, and I've never seen the movie. I know the movie exists, but it never appealed to me to view it, to watch it. It seems to me that it's exactly the same as a to-do list, but with more urgency. You know, the bucket list is a more urgent to-do list. And I think when you're younger, you've got a I'll do it when I get the chance mentality. And when you're older, I think you've got the mentality of I want to do that before I die. And that's when it becomes a bucket list. It's things to tick off before you die. I've never had a bucket list. I've never really had a list of things that I want to do. I've just done them. And I look back at the things that I've done and think, you know, I'm glad I did that. And I also look back and think, why the hell did I do that? But, you know, some of the things I think, wow, you know, why on earth did I do that? They've been great, but I would never plan to do them. So I'm more of a free-thinking, free-forming sort of person with that. If it was a business thing, if it was a strategy thing, then yeah, I believe you write lists and you make notes. But I had this change in my life in 1999 where everything up to that moment had been planned. Everything up to that moment was planned by me, and I was going to do this then. And I just think, no, to hell with it. What happens, happens. And I just go and do what I want to do because I realised life was short. And you could die with a full bucket list. We don't know. So thinking that you've got to do something before when you don't even know when you're going to die is quite defeating. I think it's taking opportunities and taking risks, taking chances and doing things. I've done the skydive. I mean, I taught people to walk on fire for over 10 years and walk on broken glass, you know, so there's people who think, wow, I've done that. But to me, you know, it was part of our job. I've tried mountain climbing, didn't like it. I climbed waterfalls. I've abseiled. I've gone to very weird, extreme places, and I've gone to quite dangerous places where people say, well, you can't go there. And I've gone there just because it was there. And I think when you get these opportunities come up, you need to grab them with both hands because you can't guarantee they're going to come up again. And the fact that they've come up as an opportunity for you, I think they've come up at the right time for you to do it. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm taking helicopter lessons. And to fly, and the first 5 lessons I've had, they take you out over the water. So, because I live down not too far from the south coast, they take you out to sea. And you know, it never occurred to me until the 3rd time that if you get into trouble and you crash, you don't kill anyone else. But that was really, you know, an eye opener for me. But it's been fun, and I plan to get to the point where I can fly a helicopter solo and. The idea would be, funny enough, talking about James Bond earlier on, you know, is to take a helicopter from ground level up to Peace Gloria, which was the revolving restaurant in on a Majesty's Secret Service, the old Bond film, 1969, and to take it up to there, which is just under 3,000 feet, and land it there. That would be the ideal achievement for me as far as flying a helicopter. So that's probably the only thing that I've actually got planned. Everything else I'll take as it comes and comes along, because I think life is full of experiences and some of the best ones are unplanned.
Mm-hmm. This is such an interesting conversation, I think. It's really, because I don't even want to say much. I really just want to listen, because there's something about having this list, planned, unplanned, exciting, adding things, you know, kind of tantalizing things you don't think about. I think it's very fascinating. And I do want to welcome Miss Betts and A.R. Grover here. How wonderful it is that you've joined us. Thank you for being there. And anything that you have to add, we'd love to hear from you. And anybody else that's listening, watching, comment, let us know that you're here. So, Mark and Heidi.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a bucket list, never have had one. Was wondering this morning what could be on my bucket list, and I came up with just some very ordinary things. One that matters a little to me, though, is that I would like to escort Heidi around the western U.S. once before it's all over. And while I can still drive and gasoline is still reasonable enough, and just show her some of the fantastic sights of the American West, which excited me no end when I was young. And I don't know how they would excite me again now, but traveling across the country has always been quite an adventure for me. And so that's a sort of conventional bucket list wish, I should say. But, you know, beyond that, so much has happened to me that I could never have expected, that I could not have wished for. That who needs a bucket list? You know, my God, I got this life, which is so unimaginable. So I could not have been foreseen at all. And so I am not sure. The only other thing that came up is the things to do before I die. What will I do after I die? Seems somehow much more interesting to consider. You know, what about these really, really big questions? Not about, you know, what am I going to experience here? You know, I've had a lifetime full of experiences like that, and the big one is still yet to come, and still quite some time off. Thank you very much, but one that I really want to be present for. I really want to be there. When I go, I really want to be there. I do not want to be in a hospital with tubes up all my orifices and, you know, medication making sure that I wasn't feeling anything or had no concerns. I don't want to be in great pain, mind you, but, you know, I want to be there when that happens. I want to, whatever that is or isn't, I want to be there. I want to be there. Or not there, as the case may be, you know. But gosh, but yeah, sure, there's things I'd like to do, and I'm in a position where we can do that in little ways around here. There's plenty of exploration to do. There was a time when travel was extremely important to me, and now that is not so high on the list, but it's still extremely interesting, you know. But not something I have to do. That's all right. I have plenty of experiences, and I'm sure that my last 25 years are going to be as eventful as the first 25, or any of those middle 25s. You know, you bet. So that's where I am with the bucket lists.
Heidi.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it meant, but then he told me. I remember when I was 12 or 13, I had on my bucket list that I wanted to make love with a man. This was really very important then.
That gives me chills.
This is for girls, for everybody, I guess. It's really an important thing. But this is not on my bucket list. I sort of know how things work. But I really, and who was that saying it before? I've forgotten. But I think it was you, Elaine. What I really would like to, it was the thing with the remote viewing. I would like to explore much more in depth what is really possible beyond our normal reality. And I often have these, I'm already exploring physical feelings and stuff which are really different than they were before. And I think that we have much more layers of reality than we normally know, and I would dedicate quite a bit of my time to explore those with a good guideline, guidance of people who have done that. And I don't mean only spiritual stuff, it is much larger for me. It's not a question of spirituality or religion or, doing meditation or whatever. This is all maybe part of it, but it's more. I'm interested in, that comes to my mind, Ken Wilber is doing again a course which he calls Superhuman Operating System, Superhuman Potential or something. And I have also posted it on Google+. There was yesterday a talk, and on Saturday is the replay. I think we have much more potential. And Ken Wilber was one of these people, the person who have really put my awareness to it when I began to read about 20 years ago about this stuff, And then we have other people in our show. Was John Freeman. He has written a book, Science of Possibility. And, really go over this scientific idea, what is possible, and really explore what is possible in an immaterial way, and which is real and not only a belief. I'm still stuck sometimes in the belief that I might only believe that, or I might I might fool myself or something like this. Also, I often think it's not. But this is what I really want to explore until the moment where Mark talked about. I want to be there too and explore that too. I want to know what will be happening there.
Yeah.
I want to just. I hear myself for some reason. So it's better. I think somebody has to mute. Okay. A.R. Grover is saying how she, when you call it a bucket list, it's like a death wish list. I don't necessarily look at it that way. I look at it like I'm going to die, maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to do something. And so these are the things that, would excite me throughout my life. Death or no death. Transition, no transition. And I love the idea of these things that just pop in and that we just do, that we're spontaneous with, because I am certainly a do you wanna gal. I always say one of my issues is people can just say, do you wanna? And I'm like, yes. I don't even have to hear the rest. But I think it's really interesting to really dig down and to ask myself, what is it that Marilyn Shannon really would be loving to do, whether it's climbing a mountain, spirituality, getting into metaphysics, meditating and seeing these other realms, yes. And what does Marilyn really want to do? And really listening to those things. Really like waking myself up to explore something that I would never have thought about, to consciously do it. It's one thing to have things happen unconsciously, but to consciously connect with these things in life is also riveting and exciting. And I'm really thinking here, and I did not think about the list being in listening. So I just want to say to everybody who's listening, that just came up. Was it Dave? Did you just say that the list is in listening? I didn't think about that before. So that's interesting.
No,
But
sorry, it was
that you?
Elaine.
It was
It was
Elaine.
Yeah.
Elaine, you're so good at that. I didn't realize that before, and I wonder what honestly, what the connection is between listing, and listening. It's interesting. I think that's something to talk about. But I am interested in hot air balloon, or is it this, or is it that, and what is on my list? And I'm really, I want to create this list. I think it's really exciting. So who wants, Margarita, go.
Yeah, I think that the bucket list has to do with, I mean, it's from that movie, right?
Yeah.
But
it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't
have to be. We can make it
but
what we want.
when we have a need inside that is not fulfilled, that I think is what they mean with the bucket list. Like, I need to have this need fulfilled inside, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna be unfulfilled in this lifetime. And so the thing about the bucket list is that to feel into what you actually need that you haven't satisfied yet. I think that's a different way of expressing it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and in what ways can you hold on to that vibration or resonance or feeling and carrying it into anything that you're doing throughout your whole day? Like, if you're really tapped in and listening to what that feeling is, then really anything that you're expressing or doing or connecting with, you can have that feeling, but you have to take the time to tune into what is that feeling that I need either today or this month or this week. It's important to listen to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Elaine.
You know, I've been pleased that people have talked about, responding to things that just come up, opportunities or things that you get the feeling or inclination to do, and then you do that or you go there. And I feel like a lot of my life has been that way. The trips that my husband and I have planned, it's like we get a quick idea, or we come across a great offer and we decide, okay, that seems cool. Let's do that. But I now am at the stage in my life, some of you lately have heard me talking about how I feel I must clear out my clutter. I have done so much spontaneously, impulsively, buying this book, collecting this thing, learning this new thing. And so, my house is filled with the treasures from many of the things that I have explored on the fly. And yet, I think I may want to relocate. I want to live a simpler life. And as I go through, in a heavy-duty kind of way over the next couple months, as I release stuff in appreciation for the experiences I've had, the things I've learned, or clearly say, I don't have any functional need for this anymore, it can go. As I clear that out, I think, if there is a bucket list of things for me, it is going to become much clearer to me, because I feel less encumbered by the stuff that I've collected in my life.
Good. Dave.
Yes.
You got something to add?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in taking opportunities and the spontaneousness of life. An unplanned life turns out to, I think, at the end of your life, an unplanned life turns out to have some form of common thread to it, and you cannot pre-plan some things. If you pre-plan something, you preclude something else happening that may be right for you right now. And a lot of people think, I'll do that when it's the right time. And I'll go there when I think it's the right time. I'll buy that when I think it's the right time. I'll do this when it's the right time is right now. It's never the right time. It will never be the right time. The right time is right now.
So it's always the right time.
It's always the right time. But the right time is never some other time. It's now. If you've got the opportunity to do it now. Why are you waiting for something to happen when you can make it happen right now? And this business is about bucket lists. To me, it has the connotation of, like I said, I want to do this before I die. How do you know you're going to have the time to do it before you die? All you could end up with is a bucket list of unfulfilled dreams or wishes or things that you wished that you had done. The time is always right. It's just being right in that time. And doing it now is, to me, I think sometimes I'll go somewhere and I just go. I'll admit that I've got the freedom to do it. I'll just travel somewhere and go there because I feel as if I need to be there or I should be there. I'll go there. I don't plan it. I haven't planned a holiday or vacation. I haven't planned one for the last 20 years. I just got up one morning when I know I've got free time and just thought, right, I think I'll go on holiday and go. And I sometimes just pick somewhere and go there with no idea what's there or what. Something will happen there. Yeah, and some of my best holidays have been spontaneous. Some of my best relationships, which have been spontaneous ones. Not planning to meet somebody, you just meet somebody. It's this instantaneous, spontaneous thing that we have, that everyone has, that when we get in tune with it, that's the best time to do things. Some of the best jobs I've had have come about from spontaneous things. I tried to get in touch with the head of a company over here when I was doing sales training because I knew they needed help, but you couldn't get through all of the red tape and BS that was precluding you from speaking to who you needed to speak to. And I decided to go to Edinburgh to see some friends, and I was going to go in a few weeks' time. So come out in a few weeks' time. So I decided to go up there the week before, just have some fun up there myself, go sightseeing, and then go and see them instead of just landing there half an hour beforehand. So I went to the airport, went to London City Airport, and I said, have you got a flight to Edinburgh? So they all said, yeah, it's leaving in about half an hour. It's 10-minute check-in at London City Airport. I said, right, I'll take it. So she said, there's another one an hour late. I said, no, I'll have that one. That's fine. So I got on the plane, I sit down, and this guy's sitting next to me, and he said, hi, it should be a very long flight, the usual chit-chat. I introduced myself, he introduced himself, and he was the guy that I was trying to get in touch with at that company. And I've been spending the last 6 weeks trying to find this guy, and he's sitting next to me on a plane. By the time we got to Edinburgh, I got an appointment, and we went in there and did some sales training for him 3 weeks later. Massive job, but it was because it was instantaneous. If I'd planned to meet him, I could still be planning to meet him.
I'm not sure those are the kinds of things, and those are the things that are phenomenal, that you could never plan, and that we have those things. We have the things that, spontaneously happen that we say, yeah, I'd love to do that. I think there's degrees of something. I think the bucket list is different. Your bucket list might say, on my bucket list, it's to drink every different kind of coffee I can find. Not that I'll be crushed if I don't, but yes. But that's on my bucket list, is to experience all the tequila I can experience. It's not, right? It's not, look, I'm into tequila lately. So it's not like
you could go and experience tequila now. All of it that you can.
But of course. That's
tomorrow you won't remember it.
Yeah, but you can't. That's the thing. It's on your bucket list. You don't wait till you're told you're going to die
No.
to start doing it. It's on your bucket list. You could have 10 things on your bucket list that you begin to experience, in life. I think it's about life. It's not about death.
Well, it's also about the emotional experiences that you're having too.
Exactly.
You're talking about
now.
you're talking about the physical action, but it's also all the sensory things, the emotional connections, the personal growth, how you listen, like all of the dimensions that are tied to that. How are you experiencing things outside of your physical self is equally important.
Yeah, that I agree with that. I think it's part of this. It's not just the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the experience. It's the experience of the thing. It's, for me right now, it's listening for that thing. Like, what would that thing be?
Mm-hmm.
Like Margarita's Mountain. What is that thing for me? It may not be something that's so challenging. It may be something that's just so exciting emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is life. I don't. So, Mark.
Well, I've been thinking about all these various possibilities, things that might be on the list, things that we have some relationship with. We really would like to do that. Or, I really liked your idea about tasting every kind of coffee that there was. But if I don't, that's just fine.
Yeah, you're not attached.
Everyone, but it'd be fun to have a different cup every morning, a different kind of coffee, something like that. But these are sort of things that we can do anyway. If they matter to us, we could arrange to make that happen. I would never get through all the shelves of coffee that I see. I could never do it. But it wouldn't be a horrible expense or anything of the sort. It could do it. So I'm really not sure what this relationship is that we're having with this bucket list business. I don't really crave anything the way I once did when I was young. Like, you wanted to have sex when you were 12. Well, if you were 12, I'm sorry, I couldn't have sex with you. But anyway, I don't crave anything quite that way anymore. But there were times when I certainly did.
So can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because that's interesting. I'm glad you said that. So I don't crave, and I think that's what we're saying. We're not needy. We're not craving something. There's nothing, blaring at me. But maybe that's part of the fun of this, because I would love to go to Bali. I've always wanted to go to Bali High and jump out of a bedroom, into a pool of water. So I think that would, I don't crave it if it doesn't happen, but it's like, wow, it's one of those things that you don't crave. You don't even think of. Margarita, what? Yeah.
I just drew this for you, the Bali mermaid.
Wait a minute. How fast did you draw that, or did you draw it before I said anything?
I drew it. I got this idea. I'm going to do the mermaid thing, and then you said Bali, and then I wrote Bali there. How's that?
Okay.
And by the way, I can show you how to do distant viewing, Eileen. So this is kind of cool on me.
That's beautiful. I love that picture.
Yeah, made from there, from Canada over here. I see that.
That's how you, is that distant viewing?
Yeah, really. Mark, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had to add that. So go ahead, keep going. What else?
No. Again, I think you hit on the thing. That I don't live a life of craving. It just doesn't happen anymore. Craving is painful, in the old Buddhist sense of the term. Desire is the root of suffering. It's not that I don't have desires. It's not that I don't have things I'd like to do, but to be driven to have things a certain way. Oh my goodness, what slavery that is! You know, that's how I feel about it now. I'll stop there. Thanks.
No, I think thank you. What? Say that.
Well, thanks for picking up on the craving business, because it's important.
Well, that is. I think that makes the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I think that answered some questions I had. That I want to listen past call it whatever you want. Call it a bucket list. Call it a life. Whatever. I don't care what you call it. I want to listen past the craving. I want to listen for the things like jumping, out of a bedroom window into a pool in Bali with flowers all over the place. That's what I want to listen to, the things that I don't have to have. The things that are just exciting to think about or to dream about,
I was thinking about a thing when I don't know the film, so I know nothing about bucket lists. But when I hear that bucket list, it's what I want to do before I die. I can imagine that people put there a whole lot of things and then they never do it, because when they do it, they admit that they are going nearer to death. So it might be a sort of magical instrument to prolong life by not doing it, what you have on this list. It was just an idea, because I remember my mother was full of this sort of magical thinking. In the other way around, she always told me when I was 6 or 7 she would die soon, and she never did. I mean, at the end she did, but not then. And later I asked her, why did you do that? And she said, when I pronounce that, then I keep it away. So there are all sorts of strange magical thinkings, and I could imagine that with a bucket list could be something like that.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, the bucket list remains a list. That's the power of it. That's the magic of it.
That's what I mean.
Not the doing of it. Having
Right.
the wish list.
It's a wish list. It's a wish list. So maybe next week or whenever we talk about a wish list. Like, I love to sing and I can't sing. I mean, I'm not a singer, and I wanted to always take lessons, and I did. And I actually got in front of a whole group of people on the stage 2 years ago, and I sang, and I could hear everything I did wrong, but I also could hear the few words that I did right, where I was right there, and that would have been on my wish list, So there are things that we do unbeknownst to ourselves, by chance, spontaneity, those things that happen, but stretching that list is exciting. Elaine?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned talking about singing and how that related to a wish you had or something. From my youngest years, I pictured myself singing in front of people, and I guess sometimes large numbers of people. Now, in my lifetime, I've done community theater, where I've been up on stage having leading roles. I've done singing, in a duo. I've sung at a couple weddings. I've sung in concert choirs. But I think it was 1990, in the early 1990s, I met a woman named Ann Wolfe, a real peacemaker at heart, and I heard her sing the song called the Peacemaker's Planetary Anthem. It's the same tune as the national anthem, but the words are by Stephen Longfellow Fisk. And so I learned the words, and at various peace gatherings, I have sung that. But I thought, you know what? I couldn't quite sing the Peacemaker's Planetary Anthem at a big stadium, but maybe I could sing a national anthem at a stadium. And I actually, through some unusual circumstances, met the daughter of the former owner of the New York Yankees. He's now George Steinbrenner. He passed away. And I thought, you know what? If I really wanted to do that, I probably could. So I'm going to revisit that again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess some of it also makes me think, what is the feeling that I want to have? You know, if I wanted to be in Yankee Stadium or be somewhere, what is it that I want to feel? I want to feel this sense of connection and power, or something uplifting or inspiring kind of move through me. I guess that's the feeling. And in a lot of ways, I have done those kinds of things in my life. You know, you haven't heard me sung on Hangouts yet because they don't allow it. Well, at least some. You know.
Let's hear it, Elaine.
No, for YouTube copyright purposes, I couldn't do it on the air. I couldn't.
Oh, we did it.
But afterwards, I probably could.
Yeah, you can sing Happy Birthday. It shouldn't make any problems. Many people have done it, so you can do a special concert for Margarita.
Let me just mention that A.R. Grover has been writing really great things, and I've been reading them. And like one of the things that she wrote was about writing a book about poetry. Now that something that's a stretch. Well, I'm not saying it's a stretch for her, but some things that are a stretch that gets us out of our box somewhat are also some of those things that we would put on this wish list. And maybe, I don't even know if we call it a wish list, but for now, until we have another concept for it. But yeah, and I appreciate A.R. Grover writing as much as she has. And Miss Betts has left us to go to sleep, but she thanks everybody for such a good conversation, because this is really, I mean, this is like, you know, I love talking about the next, you know, because that's what listening takes me, is to like the next. And so I find this extremely interesting. Who else has something to add? Because I do think it's about the emotion, like Elaine said. I think it's, you know, what emotion are we? Is it like a personal accomplishment, like a yes? You know, what does that give you? What is that self-satisfaction that you made it to the top or whatever? Margarita and then Dave, yeah.
Yeah, so what I would like to say is that if we haven't lived our mission during the lifetime we have here, then we're going to regret it. And I think that the mission we have to live in this lifetime, that has to do with the bucket list, to actually achieve these things, be as best as you could be, and actually live your mission in the moment. I think that's what the bucket list is.
Interesting. And before I go to Dave, just let's all remember what I'm going to remember is listening is learning, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm listening to all of you, I'm listening and taking it in, I'm listening to all that you have to say because it helps build who I am. And then I listen with that to help take me to wherever else I want to go. So that's Dave.
Yeah, I was just going to say, anybody that's watching this, you have missed a treat, because Elaine isn't going to sing live, because I've been in a room with Elaine off air, and she has sung, and she's got a fantastic voice. And
that's right, I did sing for you, Dave.
You did, yeah.
Wow.
And next time, I might have to accompany you on the piano, I think. That's what we've got planned, I think. We decided then.
So you play the piano, Dave?
Yeah, I played it.
Surprise!
So you know what? Somebody said about going on a Skywire cruise. Somebody said that.
Yeah, I'm going to fly all there on the helicopter.
It would be very cool that, you know, that we talk about something like that, and we do these things, and anybody who wants to join us and can. So that might be a really cool thing.
I started playing it about 25 years ago, and my fingers are really sore now. No, 25 years ago I started. But what I was going to say was the unfortunate connotation with the bucket list is that it's like dying with a to-do list. If you've still got the list and you haven't done it. But conversely, when you see a lot of people, or you read or hear of a lot of people who have achieved success, and then they die, or they take an overdose, or they get involved in drugs, and they go off the rails, it's because I think they've achieved it, and then it's like, what next? What else? Because they've done the list. So we've got to be very careful. If it is a wish list or a to-do list, that's fine. If it's the bucket list of doing things before I die, that's not, because as I think it was Heidi mentioned, or someone mentioned earlier, when you've done it, what then? You feel like you've completed your mission.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you can't add more to it.
Well, that's the thing. You can add things to it all the time. Do you need to write it down and tick it off? I mean, on my gravestone, I don't want, still had things to do on his list written. I want used up, empty, all used up. No, batteries drained. That's what I want,
There's a book. There's a book, and I did a show about this called The Dash. Anybody hear about it? The Dash. This woman was at a funeral, and she was looking at the tombstone, and she looked at the date, the birth, and the date of death, and there was the dash. And so she wrote a book and a poem about the dash. What's between? And it's very interesting. Like, what's your dash? So you just said, and by the way, Jeremy just logged on and said the first thing he heard when he logged on just now was piano.
Yeah, and I have a question too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, are you a relative of Gerald Moore, the most famous accompanist for singers?
No, I'm not. No, I mean, mine was out of fun. My nan used to play the piano, and when I was about 10, she showed me a few chords, and that was it for another period of time. But I started playing. I bought a piano, and I thought I'll do this, and I learned to play by ear, and I can sit down and play something immediately. I'm not really funny, but I can't really read music, but I got the tone for it, and so if I hear something, I can play it. And I sometimes sit there accompanying my TV when the TV theme's on, just to get it right. But I used to play in a nightclub, in a restaurant, cocktail piano. So. But I only had to play. I only knew 10 songs because by the time I'd finished those 10, there was a whole new group of people in there. So.
Yeah, it's great. In the classical realm, people always play from the notes, from the written music, and we have sort of forgotten to create music out of nothing. It's too much education. This would be also a good title. Sometimes the hindrance of education.
I'm going to write down, actually.
It's one of the things that we speak about is that amateurs can solve a lot more problems than professionals can, because professionals know what you shouldn't do, whereas amateurs aren't constrained by guidelines or rules. It's true. You're absolutely right. Sometimes education precludes you from doing something.
And they can be more creative also, while you know how you should do it, and your peer group puts you into a cage, and only this way. So
when they say you can't do that, and you say I just did.
And in the professional world, you would lose your reputation, and you would fall out of through the grid.
Out of favor. Yes. No more contracts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're almost at the end of our time here. So I really thank you for this conversation because it has gotten me to think a lot. And I don't think about achieving things on my bucket list, wish list. A.R. Grover says a list of opportunities as the end. I think about it as a beginning and just, wow, I did that. Now what can I do? I've accomplished that. Now what else can I accomplish? So that's how I kind of look at it. But I really think that this is a really great line of conversation. And I am going to be thinking about myself and what I want to put on this list. What are the things? Where do I want to go in the world? What do I want to uncover that I've never, even that I've wanted to do as a child? Somebody said,
Italy.
yeah, what said Italy? Well, yeah, and things that I wanted to do it as a child. You said about making love. Well, there were things that I wanted to do as a child that I don't, acting. I wanted to act as a child. Things like that. Maybe that is part of my bucket list. So anyway, I want to ask who's got a closing remark. You want to go down? Yeah, get Trina, go.
To me, a lot of it is about sort of externalizing that desire. So the list becomes really tuning in and then externalizing that desire outwardly. And if you can tune into that space and listen every day, then your bucket list grows to some pretty amazing depths and some pretty amazing experiences.
Yeah, that's very excellent. You're all so excellent. You're all so excellent. That's beautiful. Margarita, what about you?
I just have to show you this. It's Katrina. She's so lovely, and she has this radiating thing behind her, and her heart is on her shoulder. And I'm so grateful for all of you, especially you, Katrina. I don't know what it is, but empaths and empaths go together very well. So
you're making me teary.
Yes, I so want to have tears on my birthday. Tears of joy. Thank you so much.
Margarita, can you upload these to the Skywire page?
I think I can, yes.
Let's put them there. I mean, how wonderful would that be?
I could ping you on the chat and put them in there, and then you could upload them so that it goes.
I'd be happy to. Absolutely.
I just love you as a mermaid.
I love that. I know.
Yeah.
If you look at my my YouTube channel, somebody drew a picture of me with a microphone, and that's what I use. So maybe this will have to be next.
I have to clean up the picture, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I like it kind of like it is. But Elaine, what about you? What's your closing opening?
I was just struck by watching Katrina tear up, and I realize how much we love each other. We've just had such a ball getting to know each other, and we set each other free. So I guess for anybody who's watching this, replay, continue this conversation with others. I hope it sparked or ignited a fire to have people feeling into, living fully in the moment, feeling for those longings, and then, if you think going to a particular place is going to elicit a particular kind of feeling, just allow that feeling in the now. We don't have to put off those feelings of fulfillment into the future. But we can experience those feelings again in new places. So, great talk today.
Very well said. Very well said. Whoever, as Elaine said, when you're listening to this, share these comments. This is how the whole notion of listening and all this grows. And last week when I was on my cruise, I was one of my friends that I was with. We were on a beach in Mexico, and she said, I have on my bucket list is to have a massage on the beach under a palm tree. And so we went and did it. And not that you don't want to do it again. Maybe it's I want to do it again on my bucket list. But that was something on her bucket list, and we did it right then, and it was fabulous. So absolutely, keep experiencing these things. Dave?
Yeah, I'm more in line with the spontaneity of it. Do it when the opportunity or when the idea happens. I know earlier someone, I think it might, I wasn't sure who it was. I heard someone say, "Jump off of a balcony into a pool,"
Me.
and I thought, I've done that. So, three of my friends and I jumped off of a hotel balcony into a swimming pool at 2 in the morning, and then just got up and went back to our hotel rooms, and everybody's trying to figure out who it was. Yeah, and, you know, if you do these things, when the opportunity arises, I think it gives you a little bit more. It makes life really, really special, really enjoyable. And as far as the bucket list are concerned, I think create a list, tick things off, replace the things that you've ticked off with new stuff. Just make sure you don't die with the music still in you.
That's it. That's exactly right. I mean, I've jumped off a bridge before, yeah, and I'm going to keep adding to my list. I want to find out. I want to listen to myself to find those things that are those things that wake me up even more. Beautifully said, Dave. Beautiful. But Mark and Heidi?
Well, I'm getting a little bit wistful at this point. My goodness, I have to look at myself and say, am I dimming myself down by not having a wish list? Am I saying, no, my life is just fine the way it is. I'm not lacking for anything. Am I just saying my life is less than it might be if I allowed some more of what's inside, like I think someone said a little while ago, to come out and be expressed. And of course there's more. We never get to the bottom of that. And I don't want to pretend that I've done it all, it's fine, no problem. There's no problem, but there's more to do. There's more.
Yes.
Come out of me.
Yes, 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 yes. To express. Heidi?
And I have obviously more or less the final word. I invite you all to sing together with me the Song of Life. We can create an online choir.
Sounds good to me. All right, y'all. Well, we're so happy that you have joined us, that you're listening to us, wherever you are, from wherever you are. And I enjoy. This is all about enjoying life. So thank you for being here, and thank you all for your brilliance today. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.